welcome to my podcast on real relationships. My name is Sophie Passon and I am a relationship expert, international speaker and best-selling author of a book, Your Other Half. I decided to start this podcast because in my opinion, relationships are currently not being portrayed as what they really are. Whether you're watching TV, the news, social media, the perception given to people is wrong. And my aim is to talk about what happens in the real world, talk about real stories, and listen to what real people think, do, or go through, as opposed to creating expectation of something that doesn't actually exist. I may not agree with everything that is being said by my guest, but it is their chance to express their opinions and share the stories. Sorry, I've cut that bit out. Can I use both your real names or not?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
Right. And is it okay to tag you when I release it?
Yeah.
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 I'll ask again near the time. Right, okay. So here today we have Sean Middleton and Coralie Todd. Hi, both.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Very good.
Really good. And the sun is shining, so it's a good day.
Yeah, always hopes. So what we're going to talk about is good, happy, healthy relationships, because I strongly believe you are in one of those. So first of all, can you tell us a bit about yourselves?
Okay. So I, what can I say about myself? I'm 47 and I've recently passed my motorbike test. Mm-hmm. So I would kind of say maybe I'm having a midlife crisis, but actually I think what I'm doing is I'm learning to live life more.
A midlife awakening.
A midlife awakening. So yeah, so I'm doing lots more with life than I was before. And so I'm a busy girl doing lots of good things, but just trying to enjoy every moment. Mm-hmm. You know, even the shitty stuff, like just trying to be
historically
happy.
Past project manager.
Yeah.
Complete control freak.
Yes.
Workaholic.
Yes, all those things still apply.
And yourself.
Yeah, that as well.
It's much easier to describe you than you describe yourself.
It is, isn't it? Go on then, you do
what
you.
What about you, Sean?
I'm just Sean and I'm quite easy. I've never done anything wrong and I've always been happy. Or the truth.
No, the truth.
I've, a crazy past of lots of mechanical life jobs, working with racing cars, working with normal cars. I've worked out in Japan for a number of years, moved into groundworking to building, which then clearly was a natural progression to get into publishing and software, which we'll no doubt cover later.
Yeah.
So yes, a vast spectrum of things where I think I've spent a lot of my life running from finding out who I am.
Okay. Which I think a lot of people do, to be honest.
And it's the wisdom of hindsight that allows you to look back and say, wow, all those busy years, was I busy or was I just keeping myself busy?
That's right.
So, yes, it's an interesting path. But yes, and that's a very brief
description.
It doesn't take 3 hours, otherwise we could really
just fill the podcast with all it.
Probably, yes. So, what was your idea of love when you were younger?
Traditional.
Mm-hmm.
Traditional, and my idea of traditional: you meet, you believe you fall in love, you. You're not yourself. You wear a white dress, but a white dress is involved. There's some wedding cake, a vicar. It turns into children and is a house and a job and everything is okay.
Okay.
You exist, but also you bend to fit each other, rather than, and I think this is the running away from yourself bit, rather than, well, certainly for me, I've always wanted to please people. Mm-hmm. I'm a pleaser. So a bit of a chameleon. So I wanted to make my partners, whoever I knew in my life, happy in their world. And I think I disappeared.
Even if it meant you went happy.
Yeah, well, I perceived if your partner was happy, then you must be happy, rather than really what fills up your bucket to make you happy in your heart and your soul.
Yeah. And what about you?
So no, I'm completely different, because I certainly, when I was growing up, people hurt you, people leave, and nothing stays, or very little stays constant. So I don't think I really recognized what love was for a long time. Not in terms of a child looking at adults. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, I think my parents, you know, loved me, and you know, my grandparents, I had a strong bond with them. But I don't think I probably until I don't even know what age, but I don't think I had a real concept of actually what love meant, really.
Until later on.
Yeah, I could love animals and things, because they're kind of like easy and not complex.
Unconditional.
And it's unconditional, yeah. But I think I very quickly, probably from the age of about 8 or 9, had a massive wall up around me. Okay. So yeah,
I can vouch for that. It was quite a strong wall.
Yeah, love and nice stuff just couldn't get in, because, you know, it was a protective thing. So yeah, so I had a very different view of it, really.
And what is, for both, like, for your individual relationship journeys?
So for me, I married pretty young. I got married at 21, had my first child at 23. And to be fair, at that point, I did believe, and I think I was, you know, I did love the person I married. He turned out to be quite an unfaithful person, and left me for somebody else. And again, you know, is this a self-fulfilling prophecy? I've always believed, you know, people leave. I certainly didn't push him away, and it always takes two. But, you know, again, okay, I now have a failed marriage. I'm a single mum. So, yeah, I put a big wall up again, decide I'm not going to go there again, and, you know, all that. And then, you know, I think then the biological clock carries on ticking, you know, and so I did want more children. I got married again to somebody who was safe.
Yeah.
And I had 2 lovely children, but it got to the point that I think both of us realized that we, you know, neither of us were as happy as we should be. And I made a really difficult decision to end the marriage, because I knew that if I stayed in it, we wouldn't be true to ourselves, you know. So and at that point I'm like, right, that's it, I'm going to be a spinster. I'm just going to literally bring my kids up, just, you know, have no more relationships, and that's the end of that, because I'm not putting myself through this anymore. It's not fair on the kids. I can't be doing with all this. So that was that, except it wasn't, clearly.
Yeah, clearly not. And what about you, Sean?
It's funny, I look back and I try to put it in order. Yes, got into girlfriends late, because I was probably doing naughty things when I was younger. Actually, it was quite wayward. But steady relationships weren't on the horizon for quite some time. And I lived with a couple of people. And the last one, I'm married. So this was the forever wedding. It was the white dress and the slice of cake and everything as it should be. And we were together for many years, but I always felt, you know, we were good, but we could have been brother and sister, I think. I don't think we were making each other happy. Very good life, but we weren't really living it. And I think once we had 2 children, and the pressures of life and children and tiredness and business, and it makes you look into, certainly for myself, look into what's
important.
Yeah, what's important in life, because you only get one go, don't you? And there's no, all the corny phrases of no practice runs and so on. And I knew at some point that it couldn't continue, and had to stop it, which was a very hard decision.
Yeah.
I don't think either of us have ever taken ending marriage lightly, because
children.
Yeah, you have kids.
You stay married till your children grow up.
Yeah.
Because they're more important than your happiness, which is very true in some respects, because you chose to have these children, but you're also living your children yourself. You have a life. In
the next breath, your kids will sense that you're not happy.
Well, I think that's the thing. I think, although our children at that time for both of us were actually quite young, they still get affected by these things. Like I say, you don't take this decision lightly.
Yeah,
but also they pick up on unhappiness, don't they? So we could have struggled on in our marriages thinking, oh, we're doing the right thing. But actually, would they have had the best lives like that if they'd seen us?
Yeah, what are you passing on through the generations?
Yeah, what are you teaching your kids,
More broken people, I think.
Yeah.
And so how did you meet? And did you both know straight away it was something special about the other person?
No, first time I saw Coralie, it was a networking meeting, and it was early in the morning. She'd ridden her bike, and it was on a golf course across the lanes leading to it. And Coralie turned up with dewdrops dripping off her nose. And
it was really cold.
Quite red cheeks. So it wasn't an ideal scenario to look out and go, wow, this is the woman of my dreams. But we struck up conversation, as we did with lots of people within the group. So it wasn't instantly apparent. I don't think it was ever on the cards.
Well, no, it wasn't, because I'd already made the decision. I'm going to be a spinster. I'm going to stay single, and I'm having none of this malarkey. But of course, Sean at that time was building. I referred him to my sister and said, look, you need your kitchen doing. I've met someone, I think he's quite competent. Get a quote. Sean starts doing my sister's kitchen, and of course she only lives around the corner from me, so I'm kind of round to her house fairly frequently. And
but also you'd indicated at the time that your past as project management, you were into publishing at the time.
Yes.
And I was clearly very good at my job,
but slightly floundering in the admin department.
Crap with paperwork. And so you had said, "Oh, look, about working together, you'll take over the office and do that side of it." Yeah. And just a sequence of events. One thing led to another. But yeah, that was.
I think it was. Yeah. I don't know exactly at what point we both realised that there was clearly more to this, because kind of nothing had happened other than we had a lot of chats and
there was a strange coincidental happening where somebody had a conversation with you, and it was mentioned that you may quite like me, and that was relayed back to me.
Yes.
Which then give you a bit of confidence, so to speak.
I then, because I hadn't thought about that at the time, and I was still in quite a difficult period coming out of the marriage, really. Yes, it was a very tangled web at the time, but I said, do you want to go for a drink? We went for a drink. But that's when things really turned extremely quickly, because I think from almost the moment we started seeing each other, the roller coaster, the snowball from then was, I look back now and think, were we crazy? It was within months, if no weeks. We were living together. And bearing in mind, we've got 5 children between us. It's a huge thing to
bring together.
Because I've been so absolutely adamant, no, this is, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to be a spinster, to, oh my God. And then it was like, why did I not meet this guy flipping 20 years ago? This is so unfair.
And I'm thinking, coming out of a marriage that, although it was terribly sad, I was going to relive my youth that I never did as a single bloke, and was going to have a very good time. So absolutely wasn't thinking that we were going to make, and also, but when we first did go out, you weren't on that bucket list, by the way, of I need to put lots of notches in.
So you don't need to tell me that. I know that.
No. But it was a complete head turn that we didn't see it coming. It came from nowhere.
Yeah.
But completely, it was almost.
I think it was, you know what it's like when you start talking to someone and you find out more about them, and then it's like, and you literally can't stop talking.
Yeah, and you want to know more and more and more and more.
And it's like, oh my God, you like that, you do that. Oh my goodness, I've done this and blah. And literally from the point that we started talking to now, I don't think we've ever stopped.
10 years on, and it's a standing joke with, our oldest daughter, if we're not, we work together, we live together, we do everything 24/7 together, and if one of us is away from the other, we're on our phones talking to each other. And it's literally, we're not, and it's, I think it was weird if I wasn't living it.
Yeah. But I guess
and we're both independent.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess what I do say to people is, before you start thinking that we've got this weird codependency on each other and we can't function, we're both incredibly independent people, and we're both opinionated, and we don't always agree with each other.
Had our own businesses previously. We're not.
But we both, we enjoy each other's company so much, we choose to spend our time together. It isn't a case of
you have to, you do it because you want to.
We choose to do it, and it's not because we're incapable of living without the other one, although I have to say that as a team we're so much better.
Yes, it's more than double the efficiency of working together, because we are so completely on the same page. That's a really corny one, isn't it? But
but it's a corny one, but it is true at times too. I think sometimes corny expressions are corny because people use them too much, and sometimes in settings that actually, if they say it because we want to say it, but it's not necessarily the truth. Yes,
no, very much so. But we are, absolute. I still pinch myself sometimes, thinking I can't. It's incredible. I found somebody who so fits me. But we are still very different. We have different tastes in food and music, and Coralie's idea of a curry is a stew, and curry is a big part of my world, and spice. And
you love jazz, and I would rather gnaw my own leg off. But I will, like I took you to Norway to see your favorite jazz player, and enjoyed it with you because he was so happy and listening.
Who doesn't like Stanley Clarke? But that's another direction. But so we still appreciate each other's differences and try to work with them. And there is times when it's like, I don't enjoy that, and you don't want this, and we
just compromise and either don't do it or find something else. Or
but
like in any relationship, sometimes there's also challenging times. So what do you think pulls you through?
Okay, so we won't bore you with our challenging times, but I guarantee I can't think of one thing we haven't experienced.
It's children, divorces,
house moves,
lots of house moves, businesses starts, finishes, expansions, staff,
failures,
if you
money,
you name it, health, wealth, or wisdom, we've had it stacked up against us.
Had a lot.
But I think it's our ability to just stop. What's important? Is it going to kill us? What's the worst case scenario? How do we deal with it?
And we're both people that get on with stuff, so we don't like sit under the covers and just. We have had a couple of days probably where we have literally not wanted to get out of bed because it's been horrible. And the rest of the time we're like, right, crack on, let's get this sorted. So, there's been times like, probably the hardest time.
And in the early days, I think the hardest bit was when we first got together.
Oh yeah, and you were.
I broke.
Yeah, probably
and
broke.
I've my previous belief on depression or anything like this, when I started a grandma company with lots of guys working for me. And if anyone ever mentioned, the depression word, it was like, go for a run, go and take some exercise. It's just in your head, which it clearly is in your head. But you identified I wasn't right after some time, and said, you have to go to a doctor. And I said, so I did go to the doctor. And anyway, the long and short, I ended up rattling like a tablet bottle with so many tablets for many months. And that was difficult because when we're new into a relationship, we've got a lot of children, there's financial burdens, of course, and I've turned incapable.
Yeah.
So
slightly dribbly and a bit
still really funny, but
obviously
that doesn't pay the mortgage, does it? So
No.
all the bills.
But yeah, so that was a hard start. And then, but like a few years ago, we kind of, we're running 2 companies at the time. We've got 5 kids. We've got a house renovation that we're trying to, to finish. And, I'm not talking about a small house renovation either. We're literally pulling concrete walls down. We're living on floorboards. It's hideous. And then moving my paraplegic mother and her partner into the annex. And we're trying to juggle all these things. We've got offices, not at home. So we're sort of trying to travel to and from those, managing staff. And there was a few points that we sat there going, oh my God, like, I don't know that we can keep all these balls in the air. But we managed to, because we both have complete faith in each other. We can completely rely on each other, and we laugh. So
we do laugh a lot.
So even when it's really, really hard, and I swear, we've got pictures of me standing in this house with a pair of welly boots on and your fleece. I think it was about 11:30 at night, and the children were back at the other house because they couldn't live here because it was just so awful. They were back at the other house being looked after by. It wasn't
awful because there was no floors. It was dangerous.
There's no floors, no heating. Like literally, it just wasn't habitable. We'd have had social services round in about 3 seconds flat. And I'm standing there sort of trying to cook you tea and keep you going whilst you were building this place, and then we'd have to repeat the whole thing the next day. And it was just totally
and keep the day jobs going.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but you kind of go through all these tough things, and then you look back and go, but we did it. And it's not ideal. I wouldn't choose to do it again.
I think sometimes it's for shared goals, isn't it? It's wanting the same thing, having the same vision.
Yeah, but I think also when like for us, we literally started together with minus nothing. I don't want a pity party about it, but you kind of get to a certain point in life where you've worked really hard. You think you've got to a certain level of stuff, and then it's like, actually shit, now I don't have all that, either because you've had to sell your house and it's been at the wrong time in the market, so you lose on it, or whatever, and you just suddenly end up going, actually at the age of whatever it was, we got to start again.
You're 37, I was 40 at the time.
Yeah, 41. But
41,
anyway,
yes, I was 41.
And you literally have to start again, and at the same time, it's work out, right, how are we going to clothe the kids? We've got to feed us all, keep everything going. And
I think having the same goal instead of dragging the other person, we are in every sense partners.
Yeah, and we're both driven,
and we agree. We don't agree on everything. There's things that you want, I think, is bonkers. But
I'm right. I'm right when we get them.
Resistance is futile. And the same with myself. There's things you go along with because we both are individual.
Yeah.
But we both have complete implicit belief in each other.
Yeah.
That the sum of the whole is greater than the two parts. So we completely work together. Even if you think, we don't think this is crazy. Just get on and do it because that's what we do, what we need to do.
Yeah. And the moment you stop doing that, then I think that's when there's a problem.
And it's allowed us to be, I think, so efficient.
Yeah.
To build what we've built in 10 years.
Yeah. If you don't have that implicit trust and you don't have that support, and literally, I know if I was to break down in the car, having run out of petrol and I was 50 miles away and I didn't have any money, if I rang up Sean, the reaction I would have had in my past life would have been literally like John Cleese bashing the car with a stick and moaning at me. Sean would be like, right, I'll sort something and I'll be there. I know I would literally put my life on it. And so because I know that, doesn't mean that I take the car out willy-nilly with no petrol in it. But do you know what I mean? I just know that it's okay. Like, it's all right. And I'd do the same for him. I might moan a tiny bit that you hadn't said.
We've all got our quirks and our flaws, haven't we? So you both mentioned obviously being married before, but it was a traditional thing or whatever. Do you still see marriage as something that's important, or?
Funny, because we've never spoke about it.
No. So you asked, it's really funny because we went to a birthday party at the weekend and several people said, so when are you getting married then? And we just avoid the subject. We've never discussed it.
And last night before last, we were out for a meal.
Someone else
and
asked.
Somebody else said, so when's the date? And no one said that for a long time. So no, we've never spoken about it. And I think
do you think sometimes marriage is a validation, and because you've got what you've got, you don't need it?
I'm absolutely not against marriage, and in fairness, having been married twice,
you love a slice of wedding cake, don't you?
Well, I like making cake; it's nice, but
that was very tongue in cheek. But I think also I had a very not pleasant divorce, and so it took the married word out of the vocabulary, because it was a horrific experience that didn't need to be as it was.
No, and I suppose I've been quite lucky in the sense that my first husband left me, but I allowed the divorce to be incredibly amicable because I wanted to get on with my life and I wanted him to do the same. And my second divorce was equally amicable because I think we both realized that it wasn't right for either of us, albeit incredibly painful, and it wasn't something that we were happy doing. So although it was horrible going through it, actually I look back and I think marriage is a good thing, because I think it I don't know, it's a valid thing. And like, if our kids say they want to get married, I'll be thrilled for them, because as long as I know they're completely sure about who they're marrying and it's not just something that they think is a casual thing and they can finish it at any point. Because, I will sit down and say, you need to understand that
the implications.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not, this is like a dog. It is for life, and if it goes wrong and you can't do it for life, you need to understand that coming out of this is probably going to be one of the most painful things you've ever done, and it's horrible. So as long as you can accept that, it's a bit like, the whole dog analogy. If you get a dog, it's going to die. As long as you can cope with the pain of that, if it ever happens with marriage, then do it, because I think it's important. It does make you feel different, I think.
I feel when I see on Facebook or other social channels and somebody says they're celebrating 25 or 30 years or 35 years together, I'm genuinely stoked. I would love to have those numbers.
Yeah,
I think it's wonderful.
It is wonderful.
But you hear it less and less these days. I think the whole world, the word.
I think that one of the issues though is that actually, as you may know, I used to run events for single people, and what I've found is that the younger ones were probably not looking at marriage in the right way.
Yeah.
It was more looking at the gene pool, and I would say the choice of partner a lot of the time was fraught.
Yeah.
Or what they were looking for, and I couldn't see anything along the lines of like, do we like the same things? Do we have the same vision? Where I suppose people who have been through it and are now in the mid-40s or, whatever, second relationships kind of know the drill, and that it isn't about status, it isn't about job titles, it isn't about what you look like, what the wedding pictures are going to look like. It's about the long term, because these things can all go if you have a car crash.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not, I kind of think that it's not something you enter into lightly, and I think too many people do that.
They don't get the implications.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like when you're young, you don't think you're ever going to be old, and you don't think it's ever going to happen. And
we've got the house.
And it does.
We've got a house. We've had a holiday. We've got the dog.
Yeah.
You know, the next thing, and you know, peer pressure from friends and family. Oh, when's the date going to be? And I think people do follow along. And
completely, that's completely the social mold. I mean, since I turned 40, people have stopped asking. It seems to be kind of like the age where they now think, oh, if I ask, you know, she's going to like throw something at me. But before that, it was generally, you know, it's accepted that you should get married, and if you're not, you're a bit weird.
Yeah,
yes,
there's something wrong,
why
and
not?
that's crazy. That is crazy.
I mean, just over the weekend, actually, my mum said that, you know, what about finding a nice husband? And I'm like, you don't need to know, and you don't need to whatever, you know, but that shouldn't be the aim in life. There should be more to it.
Yeah, completely. It's about the relationship is the important thing.
That's right.
Yeah,
the right person.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time also I've certainly experienced friends that have been with their partners for a number of years, and it almost seems to be the moment they put that band of gold on, things start changing. And they might have been together 10 years, but they were married for one. And maybe it's just coincidence.
But I wonder if they've done that to try and patch up something where it's not quite right.
That's also possible. That does happen.
And having children, that's another big one.
Oh, let's patch things up and
fill the gap.
Yeah, exactly.
So what would you say is your idea of love now?
Oh, well, obviously for me, it's completely different to when I was a kid. Sean has very annoyingly, although it's a good thing, I do know it's a good thing. But
Shall I step out the room?
No, he very annoyingly kind of got rid of this huge wall that I had around me. So, you know, I've always been quite a happy, positive person, and I'm not, you know, and very determined. But up until I met Sean, you wouldn't have necessarily known that anything was ever wrong. So, you know, because I had this big facade in front of me of you know, no, I'm fine, it's all okay. But that meant that actually, and I'm sure this is a true thing, that if you shut out the bad emotions, you then don't feel the good ones either. So it's really difficult. You can't have one without the other. And so, of course, I meet Sean. And
I think also, as a quick, if I may interject on that, I think I've done huge amounts of work on myself. And I think the walls we build when we're younger to protect ourselves, what we're also doing is those walls are holding inside the bad feeling. Yeah. So that whatever may have happened in our childhoods, and it doesn't have to be horrific, but whatever misshaped thoughts we had when we built this wall is then rattling around inside the wall and can't get out.
Stuff can't come in and stuff can't come out.
The whole thing with life is it's got to get through you, isn't it?
Yeah.
You experience life and move on.
Yeah. But yeah, so Sean had this annoying, well, it was only annoying because I couldn't control it, and I don't like not
having control.
Project manager.
Yeah. So he had this way of sort of wheedling into me, not in a sort of creepy kind of way, but I think because he managed to do that really quickly, I think that was when I realized it's like, actually, there's something really special about this person, because he's literally got under my skin really quickly. And I don't know how or why, because this wasn't meant to happen, you know, this wasn't meant to happen at all. And so, I mean, it has, to be fair, it has taken a long time. This wasn't an overnight thing, but I know I'm a better person for it. So I can't remember what the original.
What's your picture of love now?
What's your idea of love now?
My definition of love is, well, for me, it absolutely needs to be unconditional. You know, you can't impose your expectations on it, because otherwise you're going to be disappointed. Probably, you know, it's again, I keep using dogs. It's only because I'm sitting next to my dogs, but you know, a dog totally unconditionally loves its owner, and they have no expectation of them. There's no like, you know, I'm going to hate you if you don't take me for a walk today. I might sit there and look a bit sad, but I still love you all the same. You know, it doesn't change. And that's how I think real love should be. You know, you love someone for who they are. And also for me, I think the biggest thing is that you also need to know you can't change people.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
You know, I think we've both learnt this over the years. You can't change who somebody is. They will change if they want to change, but you can't do it for them. And, you know, so you have to accept somebody how they are. And if you can't accept them how they are, don't even try changing them. And if you don't like what you see, then it's not real love, really.
Right, yeah.
The biggest baseline to have an ability to love someone has been learning. I think it's to learn to love yourself.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I think we are guilty of putting our wants for ourselves on other people, expecting other people to fulfill
the gap,
the hole in you. But if you're truly happy with yourself, and I don't sit here blissfully looking in the mirror thinking, "Wow, you are good."
Are you sure?
Very rarely. I've never been caught. I'll put it that way. But I know I've got. There's so much work I still want to do on myself. Physically, mentally, all sorts. But I know I'm happy with me, and I think I know I'm not looking for somebody else to make me feel better.
Yeah.
So therefore,
and that's also a common mistake that people make, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're getting towards the end of our time together. So I know it goes quickly, doesn't it?
We can talk for ages.
So what would be your one tip if someone is listening to this was struggling in their relationship and wanted something better? What would be the one thing that you'd say to them?
I think the answer always comes down to be true to yourself. If you're not true to yourself, then you're never going to be happy. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Listen to your heart.
Who are you doing it for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know in your stomach if things are right or not, and I think, so sometimes, if you think you need to make a big decision about something and you're not sure, you literally have two decisions, and it could be, do I stay or do I go? And you don't know which the answer is, make the decision in your head. Don't tell anybody, and live with that decision in your head for a few days, and you'll know very quickly whether you've made the right one or not.
If you know you're really you are as decent as you can be in yourself, and you've tried to speak to your partner to say, look, there is a problem here, and either it changes or it changes.
Yeah.
If you know you've done everything you can yourself, and you've tried to communicate, which you have to communicate, otherwise the person could be blissfully unaware that you're unhappy until it boils over and then it can't be fixed. If you've done everything and it's still not right, then it's not right.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can't change people.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Time to get a dog.
Well, thank you so much again for your time. It was lovely talking.
So much for being gentle with us.
Yeah.
So that's it for today. And for everybody else, if you enjoyed the show, then please subscribe, leave us a review, and more importantly, come back for the next episode. Thank you.